Coming up on this special episode of Battlescale Collectica, modeling expert Chris Bowling gives us a sneak peek at his latest project, a one-of-a-kind 1/15th scale replica of the Space Shuttle Atlantis. We travel to the Aviation Heritage Park and Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky for the public unveiling of the shuttle. And special guest astronaut Colonel Terry Wilcutt joins us to discuss how the museum's exhibits honor Kentucky aviators.
So we're here with model master Chris Bowling. And before we get into this exhibit you've been working on, tell us a little bit more about you. So how long have you been into scale modeling?
I started modeling when I was in grade school. I didn't really get serious about it until my wife and I moved our family back here to Kentucky. I was probably around 35 years old at the time. I got involved with a very well-known modeler in the U.S. And basically he took me under his wing to show me a couple tricks of the trade, things that worked for him. And as I progressed, he would always constantly give me feedback, ways that he would improve things, and then just basically went from there.
So Chris, this isn't the first museum exhibit you've actually worked on. Can you talk a little bit about what you've already done?
Yes, the River Rats Fighter Pilot Association are a part of the museum in Bowling Green, and they were going to different contests to look for model builders so they could build models of the River Rats members within the society. They saw one of my models. They approached me, asked me, hey, would you be interested in building a specific model for us? I said yes. I built the model for them. They were very happy with it. I actually donated quite a few as well. When the Aviation Heritage Park saw some of these models, they reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in working on a very special project. Arnie Franklin, who's one of the board members, sent me a text message one day and asked me, hey, we need to chat. Let me know when it's a good time for you. Arnie, then when we got to talking on the phone, he said, look, he says, here's what we've got. We want to know if you're interested in restoring a 1/15th scale space shuttle for us to put on exhibit here at the museum to honor the Colonel Terry Wilcutt, who was a NASA astronaut who actually flew on this aircraft several times.
Now, Colonel, he's from Kentucky, right?
Yes, he's from Western Kentucky. He was in the astronaut corps. I believe he flew 2 missions as commander on Atlantis. And he flew, I believe, 2 other missions on other aircraft or other space shuttles.
What was this? I mean, what is this model we're looking at?
This model was actually made by Rockwell International. Rockwell International is the builders of the actual space shuttle. From the research that I've done, these were models that were given to NASA as gifts at the rollout of the program. To my understanding, some of these were used as test beds. The test bed vehicles were then dressed up a little bit, painted. They put decals and stickers on them to make them look nice, and they were gifts that NASA had some of them in their inventory. Some of them, to my understanding, were transferred to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum.
Now, how many of these size shuttles, mock-ups, did NASA or did Rockwell International actually create?
I believe Rockwell International made, I believe it was a total of 4, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
This particular model behind me was on display at the Johnson Space Center before it came to my home for restoration.
Okay, great. When this project was brought to your attention, as I understand it, you had some kind of conditions to be agreed upon with the museum before you. So tell us, what is it? So what are some of the things that when you were discussing this with the museum, some of the terms that you presented that you needed as a model maker?
One of the main reasons I wanted to do this was because I wanted to give them something that no one else would have, that would be realistic, that would look really, really good. And once they saw what my vision was, they said, you know what? go ahead. But before I could cut any holes or attach the wings, they had to get permission from NASA for me to do so. NASA gave them permission and basically went from there.
So you really just didn't restore it to back how Rockwell had made it. You actually are making it like screen accurate.
Yeah, when Rockwell International, when they made these models, most of the models just had like decals on them. They looked good, looked definitely well enough to go in a museum. But I wanted to give the shuttle the treatment where it had the heat shield tiles, the thermal blankets, the smooth skin on top of the wings. I wanted to be able to simulate that, the dirt, the heat distress, things like that, to make it look realistic.
So Rockwell made 4 of these mock-ups initially, but this one is unlike anything then, because obviously, you, like you said, you put windows in it, you put holes for thrusters, you put tiles. Tell us about just these custom details and what it entailed.
Well, in order for me to do this, it wasn't just a one-man band per se. I had incorporated some other model builders in the area here to help me accomplish this task. I used plastic sheeting to simulate the tile work. I used adhesive athletic tape to simulate the heat shield blankets. We were dealing with one thickness of plastic sheeting that we had to mimic because every inch of the shuttle is covered with something, and it was 15 thousandths. That was the thickness of the sheeting, so everything else had to meet up to where if a thermal blanket were to stop, we couldn't just, do whatever on the surface. We had to have another surface glued down next to it to carry on that thing.
Just like on the real shuttle. They couldn't have different dimensions on the surface because it would disrupt
airflow. Absolutely.
Wow, that's great. So who else helped you work on this?
So there are 3 other modelers that were involved in this project. My friend Chris Vandegrift from Cincinnati. Chris is an engineer by trade. I like to refer to him as our numbers guy. Chris has made 3 trips to my home from Cincinnati to work all day to do a lot of the bigger things that I actually needed help with. Another gentleman's name was Miles Markovich. Miles was actually involved in the design of the base that it will be displayed on at the museum, and he drew up all the graphics. We had Harry Fogarty, and Harry, his niche was, he was actually the heat shield tile production guy. He had a Cricut cutting or scoring machine at his home, and basically was able to simulate all of the tile work, get all the tiles cut in a relatively short period of time, and that's how they were used on the project. Harry also supplied some of the decals that were very specific that no one else made, and basically that's the team.
Now, Chris, you mentioned, you modified this, you cut into this. I mean, this isn't just a kit you bought at a store. You're actually cutting into it, grinding on it. Can you what advice would you have for maybe an amateur or someone like me who doesn't have the skills you have about being afraid to work and customize a model kit?
Well, one thing I've learned in my modeling experiences is that there is always there's a way to fix a problem. There's nothing, generally 90% of the time, that cannot be fixed. The most important thing is that you just have a little bit of faith in yourself. On this particular model that I've worked on behind us, I cut some holes that were in the wrong location. We used laser levels, all kinds of stuff to make sure we got everything correct. I was able to cover over those holes and you can't even tell where they were at. When I initially saw that, oh my gosh, I'd made a mistake and I've cut these in the wrong place, I formulated a quick plan. We took Bondo, filled everything over nice and smooth, like it never even happened. If you're just starting out as a modeler, we all start out at a very basic level. Everybody has different skill sets. The most important thing is that you not be intimidated by it. Everybody makes mistakes. We all learn from our mistakes. And as you progress, you'll get better. Probably some of my best advice is that get involved into a local model club near you. And there's a lot of seasoned vets there, a lot of experience in different areas, from figures to science fiction, armor vehicles, aircraft, whatever. And those guys could give you a lot of advice on how to start out, where to go, and they're there to boost your confidence in yourself. You can do it just one step at a time.
Well, that sounds like great advice, and I'll try to keep that in mind the next time I'm tearing up my enterprise model I'm working on.
Yeah, it happens.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more with modeler Chris Bowling. Do you have a model build you're proud of? We'd like to feature it on our webcast. Just send us an email. Please include some images of the assembled kit in standard JPEG format. If your project is selected, we'll be in touch for more details. If your model is featured on the show, we'll send you some free swag.
You cut into the windows. Talk about how you modified it, the front.
We had to plot everything out. We had, when the decals were drawn up by Miles Markovich, he gave us paper decals that we could cut out to this scale and put on the model. We could actually tape those decals to the model. We made sure that the shuttle was completely level. We used a laser level to make sure all of everything lined up just right. Then we would take a drill with a small drill bit and drill a series of holes on the inside of the cockpit window. After that was done, basically you've got a piece that just falls out, and then we made use of a Dremel tool to smooth all the angles and flat surfaces out, and basically just worked our way around. Same thing with the payload bay windows. That was probably, if there was anything on the shuttle that we were probably the most apprehensive about at first, was cutting these holes in the shuttle. Again, things could be fixed, but it really takes a long time to try to fix something. After we initially got out of that, we got the confidence to do this. This was the hardest part. These two particular holes right here, I originally thought that they were thruster jets or thruster nozzles. They are not. These are navigation aids for the space shuttle that is specifically Atlantis. There's actually either telescopes or something inside this to help the crew navigate. The thruster nozzles. These are made of basically brass. Chris Vandigriff came down from Cincinnati and he was a major part in getting all this mapped out. These are the smaller ones here. These are actually just made of plastic tubing. All of these tiles are made in one row of plastic. Harry was able to make
like the seams?
Exactly. By lightly scoring each plastic strip. And if Harry hadn't come up with this, we probably would have still been tiling today. This material here is regular adhesive athletic tape that you would get at any sports store. And the hardest thing to do was try to figure out a material we could use to mimic the heat shield blankets that were on the shuttle. Naturally, when this tape comes off of the roll, it's got a little bit of a fuzz to it. So in an effort to do that, to get rid of that, what we did is we took Elmer's glue, cut it with a little bit of water, and painted the Elmer's glue on the panels, waited for it to dry, And then you could take 600 grit sandpaper and lightly sand the top part of that very thin layer of glue down.
Just to give it a little texture.
Just to give it a little texture. And then we would seal it a second time with a little bit heavier coat. After that, it's tough. You can't hurt it. It's got a nice texture that simulates it. And then basically, each blanket, some of these were individually hand cut. Some of the shapes on the actual shuttle for the tile work, that on the bottom of the shuttle, the tile work had a specific pattern because that was the one part of the shuttle that was going to take the most abuse. So as we move around the front here, we've got the thruster jets in the front here, 3 across the top, same thing. The 3 main thruster jets were plastic tubing that we cut at an angle to simulate the front appearance of the jets. These smaller, I don't know exactly what you would call them on the real shuttle, but in order to make these realistic, I had to take a small round file and I had to file these out to simulate the pattern that's actually on the real space shuttle. We basically went to Lowe's and got a lot of the material to dress up the engine bells. The tubing that looks sort of like a bronzish type color, that is actually insulation. That's foam tubing that we got from Lowe's that you would stuff in your door to keep out drafts.
Talk about this once of a lifetime opportunity that fell into your lap. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, I would think that would be the pinnacle of a modeler's experience, to be able to have a piece of history in their garage or wherever, to be able to work on it. This actually came from NASA. It was made by Rockwell International, the people that actually built the space shuttle. I'm on one forum and I chat back and forth with several of my friends, and a lot of them are like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that is in your garage and you're able to do that." It's a once in a lifetime experience that I will probably never have again. And it's been a group effort. It's been a lot of fun, and we're glad that we're going to be able to present it to the museum, and that several people will be able to enjoy it.
Well, I appreciate you letting us come and take a look at it.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful model. I hate to call it a model because it's really so much more than a model.
Well, I appreciate that very much. It was a lot of hard work, but in the end, it's absolutely going to be worth it.
We'll be right back with more from the Aviation Heritage Park and Museum, and also astronaut Colonel Terry Wilcutt. Battlescale Collectica does not believe in paid subscriptions or hide any content behind paywalls. We are a viewer-supported webcast. Please support the show by following our channel and sharing each episode on your social media. If you would like to financially support the show's production, please consider sending a donation over PayPal. You may use our email, battlescalecollectica@proton.me.
A few days after meeting with Chris at his home, the Aviation Heritage Park and Museum's Executive Director Bob Bubness invited me to attend the shuttle exhibit that was scheduled to be opening the following month on Memorial Day. I'd also get a chance to meet with Colonel Wilcutt to talk about the shuttle exhibit, and I was curious to see his reaction to seeing Chris's work. After all, this was an astronaut who flew the real Atlantis shuttle. I was also looking forward to talking with Bob to learn more of the museum's unique mission. And of course, I was eager to see some of the aircraft on display at the park, and also wanted to check out some of the scale models on display that Chris had told me about.
Back in 2009, when they started this whole idea of having an aviation heritage park, the whole goal was to use the story of South Central Kentucky aviators to inspire people in this region. And so they started out with the Phantom 550 F4, and from there they built this amazing facility just based on their desire to serve the community and their passion for telling these stories.
Can you talk about how these these custom works that you guys have on display, how do they really add to the story and add to the history of aviation?
Well, you take the size of our museum, obviously we're on the smaller side, so we can only feature so many aircraft that are full size. But through modelers, we are able to tell the stories of all these other aircraft that we couldn't have told without their help. And the fact that these look like they just came in from a battle or whatever, that they were used actual aircraft, is amazing. And what we have found is people just gather around those cases upstairs and just they examine each one of those models, and they really are. It's turned into one of our more popular attractions.
How did you first get introduced to Chris? What has he done with you?
Well, when I started here in September, I started September 1st, and somebody before I got hired decided the opening date, grand opening for the museum, would be September 23rd. So when I got hired, I ended up having like a 3-week countdown to making this happen. And I was really impressed by all the history that had been collected prior to me getting here. And I was also impressed by this one guy who just kept working and working and working and working. And that person turned out to be Chris Bowling. And he was here helping us do all kinds of things. He was suspending models. And I came to find out that he was this very talented, gifted model maker. And I was impressed too by the way his models told stories. And me being a historian, somebody in the museum business, that intrigued me a great deal. I think that's what connected us right away.
I know you were expecting good work from Chris. Tell me your initial reaction when you saw the scope of what his ideas were.
Well, I knew Chris well enough to know that he was going to knock it out of the park. But nothing could prepare me for actually seeing it with my own eyes. I mean, the way he's gone over this, it is like looking at a space shuttle, as if I was a giant looking at a space shuttle. I mean, you look at the photographs and then you compare the photographs to what he's done, and it's remarkable. And I think that's the thing about this shuttle that makes it so amazing. Not only does it allow us to tell the story of Terry Wilcutt, but it allows us to tell the story of modelers too, and how they are helping to preserve history as well.
We are at the Aviation Museum, and we've just unveiled the shuttle, the Space Shuttle Atlantis exhibit. Colonel, thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And Colonel, I wanted to ask, you just got a look at this shuttle today, not long ago. Your first look, what went through your mind the moment you guys unveiled and you actually saw the Atlantis?
Really, it was amazement. Chris, the modeler, did such an incredible job on this. You can see scorch marks from the apparent RCS thrust. Of course, the model doesn't have that, but he made it look like that. The tiles, the cloth padding that served as the upper thermal boundary, it was so realistic. It looks like the shuttle just came back from space, really. He's an amazing, gifted individual, and this is a gift to us, really. It's just remarkable.
And Colonel, this exhibit really, it honors all of NASA, but it honors you in particular because you're pretty closely tied to the shuttle Atlantis. Can you talk about your time with the Atlantis, your flights with it, your role in the space flights?
Sure. I had 4 flights. 2 of them were on Atlantis. My normal career for an astronaut is 2 flights as a pilot, and then you move into as a commander. So my second flight, which was a mission to Mir, was on Atlantis. I always consider Atlantis really the finest ship in the fleet. We had no problems. She was she behaved perfectly for us. No problems with the shuttle at all, with the mission, the launch, the landing. And then my third flight, my first as a commander, was on Endeavour. My last flight, my 4th flight, was on Atlantis. So 2 of my flights, one to Mir and one to the International Space Station, were on Atlantis. And we loved her. Matter of fact, being assigned Atlantis was, you just wonder which ship you get, but any astronaut that was assigned Atlantis, just they felt great about it. Great ship.
We're not talking about just pictures and some video of NASA, but actually the man hours, the blood, sweat, and love. Does it make a difference with an exhibit like this compared to what you would normally see when you go to a museum?
Well, I think so. I don't remember what Chris told us. I think there were over 600 hours of labor into making this. And it shows, he obviously not just invested his time, but invested his heart. This was important to him. And he knew, the purpose of this model is to help with the other airplanes in this facility to inspire the next generation of Kentuckians to pursue aviation careers. So he felt that the charge to make something that would do that, help do that. And I think he absolutely succeeded. It's beautiful, and his effort, that time that he took to make sure it was done exactly right, shows off.
Yeah, because initially the museum was just wanting Chris to restore it to the natural state that Rockwell had made it, but he far surpassed what it was.
But he knew when he saw it that he wasn't going to do that, that it had to be something better than that, with the important mission that it has here. And that's what he gave us. Instead of just, clean it up and put it on display, he turned it into something that looks just like the real Atlantis had just come back from space. It's beautiful.
It was a pleasure talking to you, sir. Please, you can come back on the show anytime you ever want.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. And don't go away. We'll be right back.
Now it's time for our viewer showcase, featuring the collective works of today's special guest, modeler Chris Bowling.